Question number 1. The modified rules of the game are not fair. Why? Because the modified rules of the game are restrictive. They restrict the free will of the players by restricting their freedom of choice. They are also really partial, not impartial, because they restrict the ability of development of some players that have worse rules than other players. And the ones that have better rules to play have the ability of develop faster economically. This is something we can see in the world because the people do not play by the same rules. Let's say it like that. Because poor people they don't have the same opportunities that someone that's very rich has, or someone is from the medium class. He doesn't have the same rules to play to develop economically. This is why poor people or medium class people cannot really develop, while rich people can do it because they have more opportunities to buy, to sell, and to keep making their amount of properties and objects and money bigger and bigger. And question number 2. Are the normal rules of the game fair? Yes, the normal rules of the game are fair. Why? Because they do not restrict the players especially. They apply the same, they are impartial, and they are not the responsible of the blocking of development of any player. Because, like, with the modified rules for each player, the rules that each player had to follow were specifically the ones that provoked almost totally the blocking or the development of the player. And these rules applying to everyone are fair because they do not restrict anyone, and the result that they have will be product of their entire strategy, administration, and maybe luck. Although these rules are fair, playing by these rules and with the game when the game keeps going on can cause very big differences. I already said it, because of the strategy or administration or luck of the players. But once the positions of the game have been taken, these same rules will block the possibility of, if a player is doing wrong, is doing very bad, very poorly, these rules will apply in a way that he could not succeed again. Because once the positions have been taken in the world, the rules will provoke that the positions do not change or are very difficult to change.
Question number 3. How long do you think you will have to play with the original rules for equality to happen in the game you have played? Why? Equality will never be achieved, because even if you play with the original rules, it depends on how you manage your resources, and some people will earn more and other people will earn less money. Equality essentially means that everyone has the same, but in case of Monopoly, being restricted by certain rules doesn't mean that everyone will earn equally. For example, in Mexico, we all live by the same rules, but we are not equal because we manage and use our resources in a different way, and that's why we belong to a certain social class. Question number 4. Do you think equality is simply a question of making everyone play by the same rules? Equality is not easy to achieve. No, we think that the ideas of making rules is trying to be equitable, but equality is not as simple as letting people play by the same rules. Equality consists on having the same opportunities, not just being under the same legal regulations, or in the case of Monopoly, playing by the same rules. For example, in a communist country, it's hard to achieve equality. Inequalities truly existed in communist countries because there are only two classes: the rich people who control, that are the politicians, and the poor people that live under this principle of communism,